I see.
Well, maybe I should move over then.
Good. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. This is our Wednesday evening experience. This is generally a little intimate group where we sit around and have a discussion and an experience, excuse me, about a particular topic. On the fourth Wednesday of each month, we are talking about our mind-body connection. And so I like to pull in things that explore how what we think about affects our bodies and how our bodies affect what we think about. And so that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight, I wanted to talk about shame. Shame is one of those really strong emotions that actually really get lodged in our bodies. It's one of those that really you can, when I experience shame, I can feel it in my body. I mean, there is a physical response to any kind of a shame trigger that I have. And we're going to talk about shame along with mindfulness. So mindfulness, remember, is three components to it. There's the awareness that's important at the time. Then there's clarity about it. And then there's what we call equanimity, which is non-reaction to it. And so this is a really good way to work through with shame through the practice of mindfulness. I took mindfulness-based stress reduction class where I learned a lot about how to do mindfulness practices. And that was really good. But then I took a mindful self-compassion class. And that one really helped me move through a lot of this stuff. So first off, let's just talk a little bit about shame. So shame is one of those emotions that often gets confused with another emotion, guilt. But the difference between the two of them, and I love the way when I learned this, made it so clear to me. Guilt is, I did something wrong. Shame is, I am wrong. And so when I learned to distinguish, okay, which one am I feeling here? Now, oftentimes my experience of shame, it comes on the tail of feeling guilty. I did something wrong, then I feel like, oh, this is just a pattern that I have. I keep doing it wrong. Therefore, there must be something wrong about me. And so understanding whether I'm feeling guilt in the moment or whether I'm feeling shame can be a really good distinction there. The other thing that's really important that I found that's been very helpful in me overcoming shame was to actually acknowledge that's what I was feeling. And when I realized I had a really strong shame response in my life that got triggered very easily by lots of different things, and then it attached itself in my body, and I could literally get sick for a week when I'd have a shame experience because it just solidified inside of me. At that time I had an autoimmune response illness, and autoimmune gets triggered by stress. I would have this response. Have a flare up. I'd be sick for a week, and so learning to identify that that's what was happening to me. My shame button got triggered here. Okay, now I can start to cope with it. Come on in, Judy. You can sit here, or Bridget. You guys, come on in. Welcome. Welcome. We're just beginning our talk about shame and how the difference between shame and guilt. Guilt being I did something wrong. Shame is I am wrong, and how that gets stuck in our bodies. I learned a really cool trick to help me move through shame very quickly. This comes from the work of Emma Curtis Hopkins, but she got it from the Bible, where the Bible says, lift thine eyes up. Right, into the hills. Lift thine eyes up into the hills. Looking for spirit. You can't lift your eyes up and look up and still feel the emotions that you were feeling. Really, I've tried it. When I lift my eyes up, I am no longer in that place. So I started researching what is this about, and they said that when we look up, it's a signal within our brains that takes us from an internal stimuli, and it eliminates that from us, where we're more open and expansive. We can't no longer physically be in reaction to that internal feeling that we're having. when we're looking up. So if you're feeling any kind of negative response about anything, you're feeling angry, sad, worried, frustrated, lift your eyes up. Lift your eyes up. Yes.
So,
Put the mic up, would you?
would that include when somebody annoys you, you roll your eyes?
Well, I'm wondering if that maybe is what we triggered rolling your eyes for. Of course, rolling your eyes, you also bring them back down right away. So it's you've got to keep them up there for a little bit of a prolonged period. You don't have to look at anything. Like you can do it on a blank wall, or you can look into the sky, whatever. It's something about that physical movement of lifting your eyes out of what they're normally seeing to lifting up. It actually makes you feel different. So let's try a little experiment here with that. So right now I want you to think of something that's kind of been a strong emotion, something triggered some kind of strong emotion for you. Maybe you had an encounter with somebody that really irritated you, or you were angry, or something was feeling really bad that you had done or that you wanted to do and you couldn't do. Just try to get some kind of a feeling right now and just sit with that for a moment. You can close your eyes if you want and just sit with that. See if you can build that feeling in there, because you can see this much more if you have the feeling going on when it's happening. So just see if you can build that feeling of what's bothering you right now. And just notice how it feels. Notice what's happening in your body. When you've got that feeling good and strong, then go ahead and lift your eyes up and look up. Open your eyes and look up. And notice what happens within you. I kind of felt my shoulders drop. I felt a little expansiveness in my chest. Anybody else have a feeling?
It was like, it was the disappointment, the sadness just left my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It just moved away. I was trying to get back into a feeling of anger, and once I lifted up, I couldn't have it at the same time.
Right.
I couldn't be angry anymore, and I was angry a minute before I put it up.
Uh-huh.
So there's something to it.
Something very powerful to it.
Now, you do know in the yogi philosophy, they say when you meditate, your inner eyes, you look up. So there might be a connection between that chakra, because they say even if you meditate, lift your eyes up. So there could be a connection.
While your eyes are still closed.
Yes, your
inside.
eyes, not this one is
Right.
seeing. In meditation, just close them and look up and have your eyes look up. That's what they say is in meditation.
For the third eye
Yes,
chakra.
opens the third eye.
For me, I started to feel kind of like an electricity starting to go through my arms and my hands, but as soon as I looked up, it was like it all just whooshed out. It felt really cool.
I think it's something really powerful that, and again, we've got this emotional body within us, and then we've got this physical body, and when we can use the physical body to shift the emotional body, what a powerful thing we can really begin to have in our lives. I mean, something so simple as to lift your eyes up and feel that wash of it.
I learned that when I was learning public speaking. As that whenever you're starting to tear up or lose your place or something like that, to look up. And that will also cure that issue.
Lift up your eyes, yeah. Well, right, yeah. I've seen people do that when they start to get teared up. They lift their eyes up so that they don't feel so stressed.
I have something to say. Probably it's a little bit out of the notion here, but I have a heavy experience in boating. crossing the Atlantic and being out in boats for a long period of time, and I was an avid sailor. As you go down in the cabin, most people get dizzy. For some reason, they get dizzy, and I tell them, look up, look straight up. And as soon as they do that, they regain their balance. So it's a change in focus that your eyes help you to balance yourself
Nice.
and prevent people from just getting sick, because as they go down in a cabin, they feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just going facing that way, facing where you're going, and look up, straight up, and you regain your balance.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Come on in, folks.
I have something I'd like to add, kind of
More chairs?
Sure.
piggybacking off of that is I get motion sick really easily in cars and everything like that. But I've always been told to, instead of looking at my phone or a book or something in my lap or in the car, I've always been told to look out at something far away. And it's nice living in a valley because you have mountains that you can look at no matter where you're driving. So,
Right.
yeah.
Fabulous.
Remember, we always say the eyes are the mirrors of the soul.
Yes.
So there could be another connection, that we are touching some pathway to the soul
Right.
when we lift up our eyes to the hills.
So I've started using this when I have that shame experience, so that shame response. I call it my shame trigger, and it really has gotten to a place where I can just like, whoosh, it doesn't mean I'm not feeling bad about what happened, but I don't have that internal, intense feeling that I had when that shame response happened within me. And so I think that's one of the best things I've learned with this whole idea of this mindfulness-based stuff. Hearing that little bit of, oh, I remember this now. I remember Emma talking about it, lifting your eyes up and thinking, how simple could that be? How could that possibly do anything for me? And so it's something to try. When you feel something like that, if you can remember, caught up in the emotions, sometimes it's hard to remember to do these things. But to look, when you're feeling the experience, to just lift your eyes up and feel what happens to you when you have that different response there that's going on. So I wanted to take us through a process tonight of mindfulness-based meditation to help relieve the feelings of shame, because like I said, shame can really lodge itself in our bodies. Oh, one thing I was reading, when I was reading about it, shame is the fear of disconnection. So we have this thing that feels like I'm wrong, and because I'm wrong, other people aren't going to want to be around me. And so I found that oftentimes my shame button was triggered by an interaction with somebody else. When I was doing things on my own, I didn't feel the shame. But all of my shame responses happened with other people in there. Has that been your experience too? It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody and I feel like I've disappointed them or I haven't done something that right the way they wanted it, that's when my shame gets triggered. And when I read that idea that shame is a response to the fear of disconnection, I thought, well, then this is a way to help me with that, to realize, oh, I'm worried that something's going to happen now, and this relationship is not going to work out because I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm shameful, I'm whatever it is, the emotion that it's going through me at the time. And so learning to recognize that, that's what's happening here. There is this part of me that's getting triggered by fear. There's a part of me that's getting triggered because I think I might be losing something. And that just kind of makes the shame thing build, that shame spiral build inside of us. And so this is a mindfulness-based self-compassion meditation to help us relieve the stress of shame when we feel it. And so I'm going to take us through that experience tonight. And it's about a 15-minute meditation. And we will, I'll have you, again, kind of bring up those ideas because when you can bring the emotion up and then have the experience of releasing it, it kind of becomes clearer for us that this is this is a powerful way of moving through that. So I'll ask you to bring up some ideas of things that you might have felt shameful about or felt that that emotion is different than guilt. It's like, guilt again is, I did something wrong. There's some part of me that's wrong. I remember we did The Big Leap, which was a book by Gay Hendricks, and in there he uses the term fatally flawed. And that term stuck with me for a long time, that there was something so wrong that it couldn't be fixed within me. And I think that was a lot of the belief of the shame and so forth. And of course, this all operates at a, not an intellectual level, but kind of you find it working in your bodies and, like I said, getting lodged in there. I think, a lot of the weight I have is because of hiding that shame, all of that kind of stuff. I think a lot of that, certainly the autoimmune responses that I had were triggered by all of those kind of emotions that didn't have any place else to go, and I didn't know how to deal with them, so they found a place to lodge in my body. Yeah.
You had to cover them up.
And I had to cover them up, so it's like, it's a process now of peeling all those layers of that stuff off. So, anyway.
Let me say something here. There is a study on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which guides you through changing a state. A state is nothing more than your mood, whatever you feel at that particular moment. Let's say that we are specifically talking about negative states. Guilt, a little heavier tonality. Shame, maybe a little bit less. It's personal, it's individual. We all feel differently, but any one of the negative states could be dissolved or worked on through the breathing process. It's so simplistic, and if you go a little deeper into it, to understand that inside every and each one of us, we have this energetic system that comes and goes, and it hits particular points on our bodies, the chakra points. Basic chakra, umbilical chakra, solar plex, and so forth. As we experience a particular negative emotion, be what it is, shame, guilt, fear, hate, anger, whatever tonality you can choose. They're all bad, but there is a checklist of them. Taking the particular one and just seeing it, reproducing, feeling it, and just like they say in the Bible, endure it, persevere, stay there. Nothing is permanent. They come and go. And if you just stay there, as you dip into the chakra points, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, even 30 seconds, whatever suits you, can be extremely helpful.
Well, that's what we're going to do here with this is do some breathing with that, bringing those emotions up, and then we'll do some guided breathing to release some of that stuff. So this is, again, it's a mindfulness-based stress reduction experience for self-compassion. And self-compassion can lead us to releasing that shame. So I just invite you to go ahead and get comfortable in your seat. I like my feet on the floor. You can do them however you want. If you want to sit with them cross-legged or however. I put my hands on my lap just because it's comfortable there. Supports my shoulders from dropping too much. I feel my back firmly up against the chair. I'm relaxed, but not drooping. My head is just tilted forward a little bit so that my air doesn't get constricted, but my neck is not tense. Like I said, my shoulders are relaxed. And I just begin to close my eyes and notice my breath. I'm not trying to change it. I'm not trying to make it deeper or longer or anything else. Just notice it moving in and out of our bodies. There might be a particular point where you notice it more than anywhere else. It might be right below your nostrils where you can feel it moving into you, moving out. Maybe it's the back of your throat. Could be the rise and the fall of your chest or your abdomen. Just bring your awareness to the place that you feel your breath the most. Just check in with the rest of your body just to see if there's anything that needs a little attention. I do this by scanning my body, starting at the top of my head, moving on down my neck. If I feel any tension or any spot that draws my attention to it, my awareness to it, I just breathe into it. Move on down through my torso, down my arms, down into my pelvic region, moving on down through my thighs, to my knees, to my lower legs and my feet. Any of those regions brought your awareness to them, just imagine your breath going to that area and filling it up, taking out anything that doesn't belong there and just releasing it on your breath. Completed your scan, just return your awareness to that place in your body where you feel your breath. And if any time during this meditation that your mind starts to wander, just as soon as you recognize that, just redirect your focus to your place in your body you're feeling your breath right now. Our minds are made to wander, so it's not an indication that you can't do this. It's just a natural path. And now just begin to scan your recent experiences and see if there's anything that's happened lately that might make you feel like you wish you would have done it differently. You wish you would have been able to handle it better. Maybe you said something that you'd love to take back and you can't. Just begin to feel into that experience. And allow your consciousness to just let those emotions become real right now. As you sit with this feeling, see if you can name it. Is this anger or fear or guilt or shame? Simply acknowledge the particular emotion or emotions that you are feeling right now. Awareness is the first step. And ask yourself, what is this about for me? What am I here to know? How could I have done this differently? How would I have liked this situation to be different than the way it was? Just spend a few moments getting clear. For clarity is the second step. And now remember, the third step is non-reaction, equanimity, balance. This is the place where compassion lives. And so for this part, I want you to breathe in a little deeper. And with each breath, just feel your chest cavity opening a little bit more. More expansion. More flow in your heart chakra. More spaciousness within you. And now just imagine that there are air bubbles coming up out of that space where you held those emotions. And every time you breathe out, a few of them come out with your breath. And when they hit the air, they pop. And so just allow that expansive feeling to gather up all of those emotions you were experiencing. And let them bubble on up. Breathe them out. And in your mind's eye, watch them pop like little soap bubbles. There goes the fear. There goes the betrayal. Ah, there's the anger, the doubt, the shame, the guilt, self-criticism, the judgment. Just watch them pop on out. Taking a deeper breath. Open up more. And send more of those little bubbles right on out of you. Remember, as they pass, we don't attach any judgment to them. We just let them go. Let them dissolve. Taking a nice, deep, calming breath. And then allow your breath to return to its normal pace. At every moment in our life, based on all of the knowledge that we have, all of the experiences that we've had, all of the interactions, all of the emotions, based on all of that, at every single moment, we are doing the best we can. If we could do better based on all of that, I know we would. And in this knowing, there is a place for grace, for forgiveness, for letting go of that shame and guilt and doubt. There is a place for mindful self-compassion and gentleness to ourselves. Take in another nice deep breath. And without opening your eyelids, I want you to lift your eyes upward. Keep your eyes closed. Lift your eyeballs upward. And then when you're ready, open your eyelids and hold that position for the next 60 seconds. And just begin to gently move. So how was that experience for you? Anybody want to share anything from it?
I want to make a point in here. When I first got introduced into the meditation process, which I was very fond of, I said, wow, this got to be something very fascinating. My line of work that I had to do extremely very fast thinking process, conditioned, trained to do all that. So I got presented into the meditation. And well, now you have to do just some breathing. Okay, it was very simple, but it's difficult for us to do something a little bit different than what we are conditioned to. We are conditioned to get up in the morning, brush our teeth, have a cup of coffee, a tea or something, and go do our things. So we are doing nothing but thinking, and we go to work and we stop at 7-Eleven, we picked up a donut, we drive the car and we keep driving and we keep thinking. We have nothing but a thinking machine on our mind. When we talk about meditation, our thinking is still there. It's a natural.
Excuse me. I may not have the same experience as you. So would you please personalize it? When I get up in the morning, I'm thinking. Then if I can identify with you,
Okay.
then I will.
Okay.
But if I don't identify with you, nothing happens, okay? Other than you're taking up time. So please personalize it for me and for the rest of us.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when I get up in the morning and I go do my things, individually, personally, that's what I do. I'm just thinking. And the whole process, the meditation became probably more simplistic or easier to practice for me personally, is that we are taking the focus out of the thinking machine, the thinking process, into the breathing process, which is another portion that is completely alive inside of us. And we just deeply thinking of that. And sometimes when my thoughts personally deviate a little bit or go away, I increase a little bit my breathing to anchor into it. So basically, that's what I wanted
Thank you.
to contribute.
Thank you. Katie?
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is very true. And for me, meditation is personal. I have to stop and meditate several times a day if I get wound up or if something is bothering me. You know, I have to stop, take a breath, and let things go so that I can continue on with my day. And that's kind of what, I agree with what you're saying. You know, I think there are probably several people here that agree with what you're saying, because that's what we kind of do here.
Right.
Yeah, we meditate a lot here. As far as Reverend Laura's question, what was my experience from this meditation, which is what the question was, I believe.
Yes.
Regarding that meditation, I felt a wonderful release, a wonderful experiences of something that I had not even been aware of coming, and it wasn't really a shame issue as much as it was a regret issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so nice to have something that I didn't even know was hiding, to have it released. Yeah.
It's great that you can identify it that way too. Like I said, that's the first step is actually naming it. What is this thing that I'm feeling? Because sometimes these emotions get all jumbled up and it's like, well, I should be feeling guilt, but I don't really feel guilt here. I'm kind of angry that I'm feeling this, and so maybe I'm feeling anger, or, so it's like really getting kind of clear. What is that emotion? And then what is that about? And so again, with that mindfulness, awareness, clarity, and then equanimity. And so when we can do those three things, find out what it is, what it's about, and then not react to it, because the reaction's where we get stuck. We judge ourselves so harsh. One of my favorite lines from a song is, I'd never say to anyone the things I say in my own mind. We're so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves. We say the things to ourselves we would never say to anybody, even our worst enemy. And these emotions, they get stuck in us physically. And so, like I said, that feeling of finding a way to release it. How did it work when you opened your eye, when you had your eyes up?
Yeah.
I tried to combine what you said there, Bridget, with the closing your eyes before and having the eyes lifted up. Did you feel a release then too, like we did at the first part with that?
I have a comment here also on
Bridget wants to speak a moment.
No, he can't.
Go, Bridget.
What you sent us in the 29 days.
Yes.
Not today, but yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
Was when it was told over and over again. Whatever it is, say to yourself, I love myself. I forgive myself for not doing it right. I bring the same kindness, compassion, understanding, what I want to give to someone, I got to bring it to me. Mm-hmm. So I kept having, just like Judy, mine wasn't shame, mine was regret. And I kept thinking about that. It's okay. You can have the same compassion, the same understanding, the same kindness to everyone. But I want to say something funny. Because I have only one hearing aid, I miss things. And when you started out, I heard, when I start, I stand on my head. And I had this vision for a moment, Reverend Lord, you standing on your head.
Yeah,
and
it's that whole yoga
and
thing.
it was wonderful. It freed me.
I might fall on my head, but I don't ever stand on it. That's so funny. That's so funny.
I have a comment to make here. The more I practice and the more I try to perfect the meditation, I realize that I can't hurt myself doing it. No matter how bad it is and how much I will try to improve. So it's a fun process, that we try to release out of my body, out of my system, whatever was stored unconsciously.
That whole bubbling up thing, that comes from a meditation. That was one of the first meditations I ever taught anyone. It was called soft belly meditation, and came from Stephen Levine and his work, and he says, you release everything, you soften all of your abdomen, because that's where we store. That's where we store all of those negative emotions. We store them in our, so it's about softening it and then letting it bubble up. And so I love that image of if I was blowing soap bubbles, and they just pop, 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 and so I just put all of that stuff into those things, and they just pop, pop, pop. It's just such a visual, and it just really, I don't know. For this meditation, I really can feel the expansiveness in my chest, which gives me more room for things to come up and come out, because if I hold tight, nothing's going to release. And so I really like this one. So anyway, I appreciate you all being here and playing with us tonight. This has been fun. So our Wednesday night experiences are different every week. Next week is a labyrinth walk. And so we have the labyrinth here on the floor. And we clear all the chairs out. So right now you can only see part of it, but we will have a little bit of a guided meditation, and then the labyrinth walk. I always recommend that you bring a journal with you, because things come up while you're walking in the labyrinth that really you just got to write them down. So I even walk with my journal in the labyrinth. So you're welcome to come and join us with that. Usually takes about 15 minutes for a person to start the mouth of the labyrinth, walk in to the center, and then walk back out when we're doing it in a group, because you have to go a little bit slower with that. And we've had up to 25 people on the floor at one time. We had 65 people here at one of our labyrinth walks. So our focus next month is about power, and so we're going to see what comes out for our labyrinth walk around that idea about, developing our personal power and what's stopping us and that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate you all being with us. I appreciate all of you that are joining us online here tonight. We thoroughly, you can turn and wave to the cameras. We appreciate that. If you like this kind of an experience and you would like to see more of this here, we would greatly appreciate your financial donations to it. We have a little box in the back there that's covered by something right now. It says donations. Kelly's going over to it. If you're joining us online, there is a link beneath the video where you can click on that, and it'll take you to several different ways that you can donate. We appreciate you all being here. Those of you that are joining us in person, we do have some coffee and some snacks in the lobby. We'd love to have you stay and spend a few moments socializing with us. And we appreciate you all being here. Have a wonderful week. Question? Saint Teresa of Avila.